Dollar. Dirt and money, no soul. Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack of flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar. Let me watch out for my partners. Keep my money long, get my team strong. Let me run away from my problems.
Yup, let's get original crew, man. We're back, baby. New Mr. Ball for us, old for you. Haven't done this one before, so don't say it. 3 people found in impossible places. This is a Missing 411 Part 3. We haven't did a Missing 411 in a while. I'm riding spinners.
Okay, baby.
It don't stop. Sorry, fidget spinner. But we haven't did a Missing 411 in a while.
Man, it's been a minute.
It's been a long minute, man. A lot of people like to debate. They like to have arguments. They like to have disagreements. But they never state their own opinion. Don't you hate when that happens? They always look to tear you apart, but can't never have their own opinion.
But let's see what these gonna be about.
So don't disagree with me if you can't come up with a logic yourself. That's all I'm saying.
I got you.
Hey, I like hearing y'all hear the feedback. Only if you got another theory or opinion. I don't like for people just to try to debunk what you got going on in your brain, but can't say what they got going on in their brain.
Yeah.
Or can't come up with another reason. You just want to, Ballen said this. No, come up with your own opinion and own theory, man. Let me know that you are your own person and not just a follower in this world, man.
Oh my gosh, come on.
Make sure y'all check out the links in the description box.
Down below.
You already know where to go, man. You want the first part, all you have to do is check out down below. Also, if you enjoyed today's video,
like it with a thumbs up.
But that's right, man. Let's get into a Missing 411 case. Let's go. You ready?
I'm ready.
I want to hear your opinion too, see. Don't be sitting over here quiet.
It is an unfortunate reality of being human and living on planet Earth that sometimes people go missing without any clue as to what happened to them. One day they're here, the next day they're gone. There's no clear indication of what happened.
True.
And despite everybody else's best efforts, nothing is ever learned about what happened to them. And so their families and their friends, they're left with this void in their lives that I can only imagine how terrible that is. There's no closure. There's like that perpetual sense that if you could just find more information out, you could find out what happened to your loved one, to your friend, to your colleague. But many times, people never get that. These people just go missing and that's it. But in some cases where people suddenly go missing, they'll turn up again. Sometimes days, weeks, months, years later in totally different locations from where they went missing. But sometimes in very rare circumstances, these people that go missing will reemerge days, weeks, months, years later, not having any idea how they got there or what happened to them. And so today I'm going to share 3 of these reappearance stories. The first 2 are the most well-known. They're very famous. And the third one is not as well-known, but equally as intriguing. But before we...
Yo, do you remember that story we came across on the internet? Which you come across most stories nowadays on the internet. But the one about the mermaid, the one where he said his auntie got swept off a beach.
And then
she went missing for some years and then came back. And she had all these stories about people in the ocean and mermaids.
Didn't he say that she didn't know how to swim and then she came back and she knew how to swim? Like they taught her how to swim.
They taught her a lot.
Said. Yeah.
She was able to breathe underwater and all this stuff. But she went missing for what, 2 to 4 years?
That's what he said.
It was a while. I can't remember exact, but I know it was more than one. It was like 2 or more years.
That's what we read. I don't know how true it is, but that's what we read.
And the third one is not as well known, but equally as intriguing. But before we get into today's 3 stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place, because that is all I do, and I upload 3 to 4 times a week, if not more. So if that's something you'd be interested in, I would encourage you to please gently perform a lobotomy on the like button, and then subscribe to my channel, turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of my 3 to 4 weekly uploads. Okay, let's get into the stories. In 1978, a 23-year-old named Stephen Kubacki was attending a college called Hope University in Michigan. It was a small Christian school where he was studying German and history. Stephen was a little more free-spirited than the typical student enrolled at Hope University, which is very conservative. He was a big-time outdoor enthusiast, and he loved to go skiing. In February of 1978, which was just months before Stephen was set to graduate, he decided he wanted to go on a solo ski trip around the Lake Michigan area. And so this area was known as the Lake Michigan Triangle. It's also known as just the Michigan Triangle, and it's an awful lot like the Bermuda Triangle, which is in that northern section of the Atlantic Ocean where planes and boats have gone missing over the years kind of inexplicably. Well, the Michigan Triangle is like that. And starting in the late 1800s, there were all these disappearances that started occurring in the Michigan Triangle area. And so Stephen was going to be skiing around the Lake Michigan area, and so he would be in the Michigan Triangle. Now, he had told his friends and his family that he was just going out for a day trip, and Stephen was a very accomplished outdoorsman, excellent cross-country skier, so really no one bats an eye when he decides to go out and, go skiing. No one even thought twice about it. They're like, all right, cool, we'll see you tomorrow. A day after Stephen had left for this ski trip, some snowmobilers were out in the Michigan Triangle area, and they spotted a trail of ski tracks that led up to the edge of the lake, where at the edge of the lake were a set of skis and 2 ski poles. Just stopped abruptly, and they see that this looks like someone might have fallen into the lake. Now, there weren't any clear breaks in the lake itself, but they figured it was worth telling police and to at least let them know in case they're looking for someone who might have gone missing in the area. And so it was around this time that Stephen Kubacki's friends and family started to recognize that he wasn't back yet, and he should have been. And so they end up calling in an official missing persons report because he should have been back. And so the two things happened in tandem. You have the snowmobilers that have found the ski poles and the skis, and you have the missing persons report that's come out for Stephen Kubacki, and immediately they're connected, and this massive search effort is launched with a focus on where those skis and the poles were found. Now, they looked everywhere, but it was like his tracks went right up to the edge of the lake and then just stopped. There weren't any more tracks on the lake. There were no breaks in the lake. There was nothing there. It was like he just suddenly either went into the ground or just vanished somehow. And so as hundreds of people have descended on this area to look for Steve Kubacki, his backpack shows up right next to his skis and ski poles. That was the first place that everybody went, and his backpack wasn't there. And they didn't really even know how to investigate it. It was just this weird phenomenon where all these people are like, I guess it just must have been there the whole time.
Hell no. Nope. I ain't even gonna go with that. A backpack is nothing, especially like a ski backpack or something like that. It's gonna be more bigger and bulky. You're not gonna miss that. You're not gonna miss that. All right, I just gotta hear.
Not at all. So I'm like, what? So the ski, like his poles and stuff were there, but the backpack wasn't, and then the backpack just appeared out of no.
I gotta hear the whole story. Now I'm gonna come over with my opinion.
They just didn't have a good answer for it. And so after a long and very elaborate search, ultimately they had to call it off. And so they told the family and friends that what must have happened is he got out of his skis and put everything down, went onto the lake, and it cracked and he fell in. And so that's what everybody believed. I mean, why wouldn't they? 15 months go by, and Stephen's father hears a knocking on the door. And who's at the door? Stephen Kubacki. And when he sees his son, he can't believe it because he believed his son was dead. But Kubacki has no idea. Steve has no idea how much time has passed. He saw a newspaper. Stephen saw a newspaper in his father's house, and it showed that it had been 15 months since he disappeared. He asked his father, like, how can this be? And he told Stephen, you were near Lake Michigan. That's 700 miles away. How did you get here? And Stephen's like, I woke up in a field about 40 miles from here, and I went to, my aunt's house, your sister's house, and she brought me here. And no one had any idea how he got there or why he was in the field in Pittsfield to begin with. In addition, Stephen had on clothes that he didn't recognize. He had a new backpack that had maps and all sorts of kind of like trinkets from different parts of the country. He had been to apparently San Francisco, Sacramento, all over California, to Chicago, to Utah. He's been all over the country, according to the things that are in his backpack.
Yeah.
He had $40 in cash, he had new sneakers, new glasses, and he had a t-shirt on from a Wisconsin marathon. It says he was a participant in. And one of the only things that Stephen would say to the media, because he basically swore off the media and he didn't want to give his story to anybody, he just said to one of the news outlets that he felt like he had been doing a lot of running. But other than that, we don't know what he was doing for 15 months, and apparently he doesn't either.
What do you think? What you think, Steve?
I have nothing.
You gotta give me something.
You know, I'm kind of... No, because I can't remember that story, so I can't even bring... Because it was another one kind of with them missing or something. It was like a 3-in-1 or something that we had did a while back, but I can't really remember. But I think it was the one where I think like people didn't believe him, and he had to. But I can't remember what happened in that story. Yeah, but I don't know.
Too many videos.
I know we do too many, so I can't like recall.
So with this, my mindset is going here, right?
Go ahead.
I believe he was kidnapped and drugged. Because even him being drugged can make him feel like he's been running. Because it's like, I think he's been drugged this whole time. And somebody's been traveling with his body. So, like, traveling with him. So, he's been drugged. He's probably been in a camper this whole time. And no telling what they've done to him, doing to him. So, they're putting these trinkets and stuff, making it seem like he ran away. So, it can be appeared that he wasn't kidnapped. You get what I'm saying? So, they're disguising it, making it seem like...
But why let him go?
Everybody, my thing is, just because one person might kidnap somebody doesn't make them a killer.
That's not what I'm saying, though.
Some
I'm just
people,
saying, I'm
at
just,
the end of the day,
I'm not looking for an answer. I'm just saying, like, I'm wondering why after 15 months y'all decide, okay, now I'm
maybe
just
they got another.
I'm tired of drugging and traveling with him, so I'm just going to, you know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for an answer.
No, let me say this. You might not be looking for an answer, but I'm gonna give an answer. The thing is that some, like, in some cases like this, go back to your Criminal Minds, watching those shows and stuff. A lot of this stuff was based off true stories. Sometimes over time you get tired of one victim. You ready for your next victim. Some people do that. Everybody who's kidnapped people are not killers. Some people, they just go for the thrill of it. They're not seeking the factor of killing. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if whoever was, they would have killed him. I don't believe he just had a delusional episode for 15 years and not know.
He said 15 years.
I mean, not 15 years. My bad.
I'm about to say, I thought he said months.
Not 15. Can we calm down? Like there was one.
Chill.
There was one hiccup.
Chill. It's not that serious.
Did he say?
You
made it serious.
Missing 15 years.
I meant 15 months. I don't think he would have went through a delusional episode for 15 months, traveled 700 miles, and just wind up. I just woke up in the field and I went to Auntie's house and Auntie brought me here. That's not likely. Somebody possibly know him or knew of him, or also when they peeped the fact, because then how does your backpack just end up there? Who obviously whoever possibly kidnapped you or did something to you, took you. Also, because this happens a lot, they become a part of the search party, right? All right, and then they just slip the backpack there. I can easily slip something right here and nobody notice. That's easy. That's very easy. Don't try to combat me. Say that ain't easy. That's very easy. Been there, done that before.
Been there, done what?
Took some and then, you know what I'm saying, everybody looking for it and then put it back and like, it just appeared back at where it was. You know?
But so I'm wondering, like, who all, I know he, like, a couple friends maybe in a family, I can't remember, like, knew that he was going on the...
Somebody random could have just saw him.
But earlier you said that maybe somebody knew him. So I'm going off of that.
No. Don't go off of that. So my thing, because I'm talking about how he ended back where he was. So, because I saw a thing went through.
I'm talking about the kidnapping.
So let me finish. So somebody possibly who could have kidnapped him, right?
Mm-hmm. Kidnapping.
This is hypothetical. Somebody kidnapped him, right? Mm-hmm. Then afterwards, they joined the search party. They found out who his mother and his parents are. They start putting these pieces together. Okay. While because they're they're doing news articles about him. 9 times out of 10, his parents are doing. Okay, that's your parent. They're on the news. They're on the television talking about you. Get the first and last name. It's not that hard to look back in the day in the yellow pages and find out where people
So
come
who are
from.
you saying?
He might have had identification in his backpack. I'm talking about the kidnapper. The kidnapper, obviously, whoever took him, obviously.
Obviously, what?
Paid attention to people looking for him.
Okay.
And that's how he got the information to find out where his family is from. So obviously, after the 15 months,
but what
he took him near.
Okay, we
but
get
then
that.
drop him back at home, but took him near to where he's from.
Okay, we get that, right? We agree that we get what you're saying. What I was saying, what I'm asking is, who all knew that he probably. Well, never mind.
What you talking about? Out skiing?
Never mind.
That could have been just somebody.
Never mind.
A widow in the woods who be doing
babe,
it. That's where they be hanging out
I said,
at.
never mind. I get it. Now I remember what you just said, so it kind of answered my question. But whatever.
Or it could have been somebody who
Or it could have just been random. Or that may not even be the story, so we don't know. But
that's the story I'm going.
But that's the story you're going with, and
kidnapped.
I'm not gonna say
drugged.
your story is wrong because I have nothing.
I feel like he probably was just kidnapped and drugged for 15 months, and then finally when maybe he got another victim, or he was ready to move on from that victim, drop him off not at home but near the vicinity of his home, so his trail won't be traced 40 miles away from
that could make
in a
that,
random field.
It happens. We hear stories, weird stories like that, so it's possible. It's not far fetched.
Yeah, but the best thing about it, Stephen. Seems like he turned out to be okay after the fact. So
yeah.
In early 2018, Danny Philippus was a 49-year-old firefighter living in Canada. He had a wife, he had 2 kids, he was happy, healthy, successful. And every year, he and his colleagues at the firehouse would go on a ski trip to New York, where they would go skiing at a mountain called Whiteface. And so on February 7th, 2018, Danny and his 7 colleagues are at Whiteface. They're enjoying themselves. Danny was an avid skier. Like, this is something he really looked forward to, was this annual retreat to Whiteface Mountain. And it was getting to be lunchtime, and his 7 colleagues said, hey, let's go down to the lodge and get a bite to eat. Danny was just having a great time on the mountain, and he was like, I'm going to just do a couple more runs. I'll meet you guys in about 30 minutes or so. I'm going to do a couple more runs before lunch. So they go down to the lodge, and Danny continues to do a couple more runs. And so after an hour or so, and Danny still hasn't shown up at the lodge, his 7 colleagues have finished eating, and they're like, you know what? I bet Danny just decided he wanted to skip lunch, and he's probably just fine. And so they end up just going out and skiing the rest of the day. But by the end of the night, when the mountain is starting to shut down, they're all checking their phones for messages from Danny. They haven't gotten anything from him. They haven't seen him. They decide, let's go check out, his room back at the hotel and make sure that he's there. Maybe he got sick and he left, something like that. And the resort was attached to the mountain itself. So they just walked right over to his room. They knocked, he didn't answer, but then they went out back and they found his car, and his car was still there. They went to the front desk, they explained the situation. They ended up going in the room and checking to see if he was in there. He wasn't, but all of his personal belongings are still inside of the room. So Danny, who has not shown up after going skiing for this additional run, clearly hasn't left the mountain because his car's still here, his cash, his passport, everything is in his room, but no one knows where Danny is. And so they launched this massive search for Danny. And I mean, this day it was so crowded.
You said his passport and everything was still in the room?
Everything. His personal, yeah. So he hasn't left. Like he's,
he hasn't left.
He's still there
so
somewhere.
His personal belongings still there.
Everything, car, everything.
I ain't gonna hold you.
Honestly, he probably never came back to the room.
He never came back from the slopes. I would have after we've been down there for about 30 minutes. Somebody, hey, because y'all hit your phones on you. Hey, can somebody give a call to Danny to make sure Danny's okay? Because my biggest thing is that he get something happen to him especially after listening to that one story we listened to.
There's so many people there, and also it had snowed a ton before they even started skiing that day. So it would have been very difficult to move very far off the mountain, let's say, if someone wanted to. I mean, just there was too much snow on the ground. So he couldn't have gotten very far. And there were lots of people there that they could interview to say, have you seen this man? They had a picture of him, you know, and no one had seen him. And there was no sign of him. Despite this massive search effort, no one has any idea what happened to him. The authorities call off the search and they tell his loved ones and his friends that, you know, Danny must have succumbed to the elements. That's the only explanation we can give. We can't find him now because the snow's pretty deep. But hopefully when the weather warms up, we'll be able to launch another search and we can recover his body. And so that's the news that's passed to his wife, to his kids, to his friends. And it's just devastating. And then a couple days later, Danny's wife is home, trying to adjust to this awful new normal. And she gets a phone call from a number she doesn't recognize. And she picks it up, and it's a little bit hard to hear, but she immediately recognizes her husband's voice. And she can tell right away that there's something wrong. Like he's not making sense. She's like, Danny, is that you? Is that you? And Danny's like, I don't know where I am. I don't know how I got here. Where are you? What am I doing? And so she immediately tells him, you have to call the police. You have to call the police. They have to come get you. And finally he agrees and he hangs up. The police receive a phone call from Danny, and he doesn't know where he is. He's saying that, you know, my wife told me to call you. I'm very confused. I don't know what's going on. And they ask him to describe where he is. And he starts describing what's around him. And police are able to, you know, eventually pinpoint where he is. And it turns out he was near Sacramento, California, 2,900 miles away from Whiteface Mountain. Even more strangely, when the police go to collect Danny, he's still wearing his ski gear. You know, winter jacket, winter pants, ski boots on. He even still had his goggles on his head. And he has a haircut. He has a fresh haircut. And he has a brand new phone, a brand new iPhone. But he had no money. He had no wallet. He had nothing. He had left all of his belongings in his room. So looking at him like, how did you get a new phone? How did you get a haircut? Why did you get a new haircut? And when you got your haircut, why didn't the person cutting your hair let someone know that a man who's visibly confused wearing ski gear is getting a haircut in here? And so it's just this totally strange mystery that Danny, to this day, and anybody that knows Danny and his friends, the investigators, everybody, no one knows how he got there. How does a guy without a car, without any money,
that's far,
wearing ski gear, go from New York to Sacramento, California, somehow get a haircut and buy a new phone, and then just suddenly come to and be like, oh, that's right, I'm Danny, and I'm going to call my wife and let her know where I am now. Like, it was just crazy.
Right, and then
that just typically doesn't happen.
Right, and then with this situation, I'm like, because since he's so confused and don't know where he's at, I'm even surprised that he even like remembered his wife's number to even call. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking about that too. I'm like you're so confused, you don't know.
Especially 2018, most people don't remember phone numbers no more because they're all stored in your phone. So like back then, you remember phone numbers because you remember your house phone number, your auntie house phone number, because you had to. Now you just store phone numbers in your phone. You hardly ever remember. You might remember maybe your mom or your spouse, but you hardly, because it's 2018. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Most of the time, you just go to the phone. Most people don't remember contacts anymore.
That's crazy. But yeah.
We used to have to get shoved down our head to remember your home phone number at a young age. Nowadays, I'm like, how cute.
Do you remember your home phone number?
It was 731-772-6667. Yeah.
I remember my grandma's because she had it forever.
Those are house phone. We don't have it. Ben not having it. And then they changed it, and I can't remember what she changed it to. But that was when I was a baby.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. But yeah, that's what I'm just sitting here thinking. I'm just like, he's so confused. He
know where I'm going.
He doesn't know where he's at. He told his friends. Oh, gosh. He told his friends, like, hey, I'm going to stay here, 30 minutes, about 30 more minutes.
Yeah.
And then I'll catch up with you guys.
My biggest question
I'm just, like, trying to piece everything together because I'm trying to figure out, like.
My biggest question is, how busy were the slopes that day?
Because
were a lot of people on the slopes.
He said it was a lot of people. It was people that can be able to, like, no one seen him. Nothing.
That's not normal.
No one seen anything.
That's not normal.
And then also, because at first I was like, well, maybe because I think reacted to one where like he was living like a double life or something.
Yeah. But he hit his head or something.
Yeah, he hit his head or something, and then
But
I was
he didn't come.
Yeah. So I was thinking that, and then I was like, but he still have on his gear. I'm so confused. And then I'm like, it's only been a couple of days. It's not like it's been like years. Would you think this is another kidnapping?
Yes. I'd go with a kid. Like,
and
y'all
then,
fail to realize how
listen,
many people are kidnapped in America or in the world
facts.
daily.
Facts.
Not even, like, daily.
Why would you buy him a phone and give it to him?
Again,
Just because
I kidnap people might not mean I kill them.
I'm not talking about taking someone's life. I'm saying, why would you buy? If I kidnap someone,
but also, listen. Also, it's not stated that he bought a phone. He just had a new phone. We don't know if he found a phone. We don't know if he borrowed a phone from somebody. We don't know that detail.
I'm not talking about him buying the phone because obviously he didn't have any money. I said, why would they buy or fine, whatever. If
we don't know if he had borrowed a phone from somebody or not. Like, we just don't know.
Well, we don't know, but I'm just going off of what was given. I'm not. I took it as if this phone was his phone, or whatever the case may be. He got this new phone, but he could have borrowed the phone. He could have found the phone somewhere, or I don't know. And then I'm thinking about the haircut. So the kidnapper, I guess, obviously gave him a haircut.
Fetish.
Like that, it happens. Like I know. I'm just piecing everything together. So, what you looking up?
Just. Hold on.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of like, cause he was missing 2 days.
He just said some days go by. He didn't say exactly. All right. So how long does it take to get from New York to California? They said the driving distance from New York to California is approximately 2,800 miles, and the estimated driving time is around 40 to 45 hours without factoring in stops for rest, food, or sightseeing. So several days later, that's several days later. So somebody literally took you, because it was in the New York area, but it's not necessarily New York. So I just said New York to California. To that area. So that gives me time to get you away from there, travel, do whatever. So you never know. People are fucking sick. We find out about a new serial killer all the time from Ballen. You find out about, because don't nobody need to say Bigfoot. Don't nobody need to say aliens. This ain't no alien abduction or Bigfoot abduction. You know what I'm saying? Come on now, like let's be humans. But you know,
I'm just thinking.
Because the first thing most people try to do when they kidnap you is drug you. A lot of times, especially if you're an adult, because that's the only way I can keep you weak without fighting back. A child, different. But an adult, you have to be drugged. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, that's the only thing I can come up with.
I mean, there's nothing else to come up with, really.
Because the time distance does equivalent to the amount of time it'll take to get from New York to Sacramento.
I mean, the only thing that your head can go to is, okay, someone took you. And then what else after that?
We left no other trace. And then obviously we don't know
like
if
we don't know where you don't know where you at. We don't know. You woke up, still have all your gear on, got a haircut, got this mysterious phone that you either found or whatever the case, borrowed from someone, remembered your wife's number but can't remember. I mean, I guess because that's more long-term memory, the number, opposed to this short-term situation that happened. So, yeah, that kind of makes sense that you may not remember that, but a number stored in your brain, you know, that's a more long-term. So you kind of like situations like
2018.
that. Okay, I still know numbers from back in the 90s.
I'm saying more recent. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
it's hard to hard to remember new numbers.
But if it's your wife number, I'm pretty sure you remember that by heart, especially if she's had the same number for years.
So is that the only thing?
But I know your number.
So you have no other like Bro, my number been my number for years.
So that's my point.
Since I was a child, my phone number has been my phone
I didn't know
number.
you then, but that's the point.
Yeah, you do.
I didn't know you as a child.
Bro, I'm saying.
As a teenager.
Go.
What you gonna say?
You know me since I was a teenager. My number been the same, so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
you know my number.
You have, now, but you have now always had the same number. You have had plenty of numbers since we first met.
But my point is, I'm just trying to piece everything together.
But you have no idea.
But the only thing I can go with is possible he was taken by someone.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can go with.
Same with the first story.
And it's not like it's a robbery because he didn't have anything on him. All his stuff is in his room. Nothing was like
people got weird fetishes, bro. They
but I'm
probably
just like no
his hair.
one's seen anything. But I guess
some people like your hair and they want to take you because of your hair. Reason why they gave him a haircut, or maybe they got to cut his hair. It's like, oh, I'm not attracted to him as I thought I would. And you know what I'm saying?
I don't know, child.
People are weird.
It's weird. Bro. It's weird, but
the world's full of weird people.
Yeah.
So this last story was documented in the official American Ethnology Report from 1897, 1898. Although the story is, well documented in this report, the location is unclear. People have speculated that it's either Ireland, Scotland, or Wales. So just take this with a grain of salt that the location is not known. It's an older story, but it was officially documented in an official report. In 1898, a 12-year-old boy was playing at this river that ran near his house. He was out in the forest, he was playing to this river, and he had a bow and arrow, and he was practicing shooting his bow and arrow. And after a little while, he got bored of his bow and arrow, and he went to the stream itself, and he started to build a little dam in the river to try to catch some fish. And as he's building this thing up, he's down on his knees building up this little dam in the river, he notices someone is walking down the river towards him. And he looks up, and he would describe this person as looking normal, a normal-looking stranger. It's a gentleman who shows up. He's wearing a nice suit. He walks over to Wofford, and he apparently just came out of the woods. And he says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And the boy, he's like, "Oh, I'm making this fish trap." And he's like, "Man, that looks like a lot of work. Like, you should take a break." And the boy's like, "Yeah, I guess I could take a break." And the gentleman just says, "Well, if you want, while you're taking this break, you could come to my house. It's just up past the bend here. My family's there. You can have a meal with us, and then you can come back and you can finish your fish trap." And so, this is a different time. This is the late 1800s, and I'm not suggesting that at the time it was totally cool to go with strangers into weird houses in the forest, but the boy felt compelled to say yes. He didn't want to be rude, and maybe his fear of strangers is less extreme than it is, for us today in 2020. Mm-hmm. And so he agrees to go with the man. They make their way up past the river into the forest a little bit, and they come up to this cabin. Now, the boy played in the woods here, and he had never seen this house before. But he's not too concerned, because as soon as he gets to the house, this cabin in the woods, he sees that the lights are on, and he hears kids playing inside, and a close family friend of his family's is sitting on the porch talking to one of the other apparently family members of the stranger. Okay. And so the boy's put at ease, and he says hi to the family friend, and the family friend, waves back. The boy goes inside, and he sees that this family has a couple of kids roughly his age. They're playing, goofing around. They have dinner, they have this wonderful meal, and the boy Wofford is like, "Man, this is so great." And after the meal, he lays down and falls asleep. He kind of loses track of time. The boy falls asleep at this cabin. And so he wakes up early the next morning, and he feels horrible because he didn't mean to fall asleep, and he didn't tell anyone from his family where he was going. And he's thinking, "Man, they're going to be so worried about me." And so as he's getting up to leave, the stranger is already awake, the one that had met him down by the river and called him up to the house. And the boy says, "Hey, can you walk me down back to the river?" And the stranger's like, "I can take you part of the way down, sure." So the two of them, they're having small talk, and the boy's thanking the man for his generosity. And so as they're walking, they're passing by an orchard on one side and a cornfield on the other. And it's this beautiful morning, the sun's just coming up, and the boy remembers thinking how beautiful the setting was. But he also was thinking, like, I don't even know where I am right now. And I'm assuming he's walking me back to where I live, but this doesn't look familiar at all. And the stranger stops. They get to almost a junction right at the end of the orchard and of the cornfield. And the stranger tells the boy, Wofford, he says, "Hey, just go straight. You're going to turn down this way, turn back, and you'll be at the river again where we met." And the boy thanks the stranger, and the stranger turns and starts walking back towards his cabin and says, "Hey, good luck, see ya." And the boy starts following the man's directions. And Wofford, as he's walking, following the stranger's directions, he's suddenly curious and turns around to look back at this strange person who had brought him up to the house and then now brought him back. Mm-hmm. And he's stunned because suddenly the orchard and the cornfield are not there. There is no orchard or cornfield. It's just deep, dark forest. And he's like, what's going on? He turns back and there's a search party, or it looks like a search party, running up to him. Part of the search party is the family friend that he had seen at the house. And the boy's like looking at these people running towards him, like they're running to him. And he recognizes the family friend, and he can tell they're like urgently looking for him. And he felt bad because he knows he slept over through the night. So he's like, "Hey, I'm here. And they're like, "Where have you been?" And the boy turns to the family friend and he's like, "Didn't you tell them I was with you?" And the family friend is like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, the house with the family. We ate dinner together last night." What? And the guy, the family friend, is like, "I've been looking for you for the past several days. I've been with your family looking for you. You've been gone for 3 days."
3 days?
And the boy is like, "What?" And as he's describing the kind of general vicinity of where this cabin was, he's kind of pointing back up towards where it was and describing it from where the river was. The family says to him that since you've been missing, we've heard rhythmic drumming non-stop coming from the section of the forest that you just described. We could never pinpoint where it was coming from. And now that you just showed up, the drumming has stopped. And so the kid's terrified, but there's no answer.
The fuck?
Yo.
This is very awkward.
Because I'm like, okay, we got this cabin that he's never seen before, because he always, he plays in the woods all the time. This friend that's sitting on the porch that he thought he seen, but the friend actually been looking for him, but the friend looked like the family, friend. Mm-hmm. The cornfield, the orchard, like all of this is gone. Like, I'm confused.
We all are.
I'm really confused. I'm like, is this just like a imagination type of thing?
I thought maybe he had maybe he ate some berries or something,
and he
had a delusional outbreak.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
This story got me
pretty creepy. So 3 very strange stories that luckily all of them ended with the person being found again. But it doesn't change the fact that the mystery remains.
What?
Where did they go?
Oh my God.
Hold on.
That's the end, see?
It's like they left the earth for a couple of days, or in Stephen Kubaki's case, for over a year, and then came back. It was like a glitch in the Matrix or something. And so I would love to hear in the comments what you think can...
Yeah, that's it. That last story, I'm stumped on. The rhythm and drumming thing doesn't make sense. Also, it's I'm gonna say just due to the lack of information from and because of the time period and all that stuff, it's gonna be very vague for you to be able to pinpoint. Like, and I already know somebody gonna say,
yeah, whatever. But
that one, I'm just stumped on that one. I have no opinion.
I was invested.
At least I'll say this: the best thing about it, at least he was found safe.
Yes, that's the best. Yeah.
In all cases, all these cases,
all of them, yeah.
At least they all were found safe. No matter, even if they have went through something, whatever they went through, they was able to come back home and still say that, hey, I'm safe.
Yeah.
So that's the best thing about each case.
Facts. I do wonder, like, especially with the first 2, like, since it's been years, have any of them kind of gained, like, any type of memory or,
Because sometimes if you are drugged, that some of those visions and stuff still be there. You might have a vague memory, or you keep going back to places that you can't come out of. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I don't know why I keep having these big. Yeah. So I just wonder, but yeah, glad everyone was found safe. Yeah. Yeah.
But for the most part, hey, if you got opinions, please spam it up in the comment section down below. If you don't have an opinion but you want to disagree, that's okay. Or if you don't disagree without having an opinion yourself. Because I don't want to hear you try to tear away my thoughts when you can't come up with your own to give me or sway me with another reason or what it could be.
Yeah,
I hate those debates, man. But hey, man, continue to spam us up.
Please do.
You don't believe neither one of the first two? It ain't gotta be long. I just want to ask you. You don't think neither one of the first two were kidnappings?
I told you, I feel like that's the only way my brain can go. Like, what else?
Okay.
My brain don't go the other places people be going.
Yeah.
So I can only think that someone took them
And drug them.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. But
the time explains it though. Like the time was like, yeah, I can see that happening.
Yeah.
But hey, man, y'all spam us up. Y'all let us know y'all thoughts and opinions down below.
Please do.
But as always, I do go by the name DJ Kid. This is
Here to call.
You are?
Yeah.
Had to go and get it, ain't no time to kick it. Got a stack and flip for my foes. Dollar. Please tell me you can hear me. Don't turn your back and don't neglect me. Just let me know if you need me. Dollar.